I can't be the only one. I kind of can't believe I'm doing this. It feels so good. I was thinking, Lizzy, maybe you should try to branch out. But like I was kind of wrestling. If you're looking for a quick dopamine knit, it definitely feels like a sailor. Hi everyone, I'm Lizzy and welcome to my knitting podcast, It's By Lizzy. So since this is the first episode, I thought I would do just a little bit of an introduction about myself. So I am a PhD student in New Hampshire in the US, and I found knitting a little under 2 years ago, and just pretty immediately fell in love with it, found it super addicting and satisfying and stress relieving. And you know, I've just kind of fallen in love with it, and I've got more love to share. So thought I'd start one of these. I'm also a vegan knitter, so that means that I primarily knit with synthetic fibers, mainly acrylic, and then in the summer, like now, knit with plant fibers, so mainly just cotton and bamboo or viscose. So if you are into budget yarns, that tends to be what I knit with, because acrylic is a lot less expensive than wool. So this is going to be a channel about just my knitting journey and sharing the love of knitting, and I thought that I had I could contribute to the podcast world, since I don't see a ton of podcasters knitting with a lot of synthetic fibers. And I know that even though I love all the podcasts, it's nice, I wish that I could see some of these patterns made in yarn that I knit with. And, I thought I can't be the only one, so maybe I'll start one myself. So I've been thinking about this a while. But here we are. Yeah, I kind of can't believe I'm doing this. Definitely still feel kind of strange talking to a camera, but hopefully that'll get better with time. So you have to forgive me a bit, but got my tea, got my knits, and we're gonna do this thing. So I'll just do standard podcast format and start off with what I'm wearing, which is the Seaside Tee by let's see, one second. The Seaside Tee is by Cheryl Mokatari, and that is the Coco Amore on Ravelry. So that's where you can find that. And this is probably the only non-budget project that you'll see from me, because I knit this in Saint Escarn Line, so not tin line but line, which is a blend of 3 different fibers. I believe it's so linen, cotton, and I think some bamboo as well. So I'll put the actual percentages on the screen here. I wanted to kind of see what everyone else seemed to love line so much, so I really wanted to give it a try. So it was definitely a bit of a splurge. I think that this t-shirt was about $50 worth of yarn, which is a lot of money for me to spend on yarn. But I found that knitting with line was, the knitting experience wasn't as good as I was expecting, just with all the praise about it, because it was super duper splitty, more than I've encountered in other things. However, I actually think that it's worth it, and I totally get the hype, because the fabric that it generates it feels so good on your skin. I will say though that it is a bit warm. This t-shirt is a little bit warm, even for summer, even though it's knitted in summer fibers, and I think that might be due just to the fact that this is a more like a DK to worsted yarn, so it's not tin line, and I think that if I knit like obviously like a fingering weight t-shirt, that it would have been a lot better for the weather that we have here, which in New England we get all seasons, so right now it's really, really hot. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing. Maybe I'll insert some footage of me kind of like standing up so you can see how it fits. I did it pretty cropped, which I tend to do mainly because I'm a petite person, so I'm only 5'1", and also I pretty much always wear high-waisted shorts or pants or whatever. So it's it's never gonna need to go like all the way down. And then I tend to like to kind of tuck things in. Although I will say that this might be just like a tad too cramped because I can't really tuck it in fully. I can do like the little side tuck, but not the whole thing. Okay, so let's actually get into what I've been working on recently. This is something I finished way back at the very beginning of the summer, so in May. But what thing I actually finished it yesterday, is the Moonset Tee by Ozetta. So it might be kind of hard to see because of the color. So this is a V-neck t-shirt. It's supposed to be in fingering weight, but I knit this out of Barocco Modern Cotton DK, and so even though this says that it's a DK, I really think that this yarn is really more like a sport weight or even like a heavy, light sport to heavy fingering. It's definitely not, I wouldn't call it a DK. And I'll put the meters per grams on the screen so you can see. So it worked out pretty well. I just had to go down a tiny bit in the needle size in order to get gauge. So I think this is mainly knit on 3.25 millimeter needles, but I knit it on just 3 millimeter needles. And I believe that the color I knitted in is Piper. Let me just double check that. No, it's Hope. I knit my Poteen Piper. So this is the color Hope. And I don't have a lot or any garments in my wardrobe that are this color. It's like really navy blue, and I got inspired by my friend who's also a knitter. We made a trip down to Massachusetts to go to the Webb's store, America's Yarn store, which if you're anywhere within driving distance of that store, you absolutely need to go. It was amazing. We made a special trip all the way down there, and we were both so stoked about it. But she absolutely loves this color. She's knit lots of sweaters in this sort of dark blue, and I had my basket full of like creams, and I was thinking, Lizzy, maybe you should try to branch out and knit some colors. So I got this color, and I'm really happy that I did. It's really, I think it's gonna be really nice in my wardrobe. And I really tried my best not to crop this too much so that I could tuck it in. And I do really like the fit. This also is not blocked yet, so I think it's gonna grow a tiny bit in blocking based off of the other garments I've knit with this yarn. So yeah, I think by the end it's gonna fit perfectly. And also these sleeves are more like, they fit almost to my kind of elbow crease, whereas most short sleeves I knit pretty short. As you can see, like this is, you can see underneath the arm here that it's, when I picked up for knitting the sleeve, I only knit about one stripe and then did the ribbing and bound off. But this is, not only is it drop shoulder, so you've kind of got the extension from the body on the arm, but it's also, then you knit it quite a bit. And so I ended up getting it to hit right where the pattern has you hit it, even though I had to reduce a few rounds in order to get that, to happen. Also in this pattern, it's finished with I-cord edges, but I did folded hems, and I'm really happy with how the folded hems turned out. Let's see if I'm gonna kind of zoom in here on the folded hem. You can see my laddering from my magic loop. If anyone has any suggestions, I think I'm pulling it too tight. So there's the sleeve. Yeah, the body hem worked really well. So I did folded hems on my Poet Tee sleeves, and for those, all I did was go down a needle size for the underneath part of the hem that's going to be folded. But for this one, I had seen other people talk about how they would do a purl row right where it's going to fold to kind of like crease the fabric. So I combined the adding the purl row and reducing the needle size for the underside. of the folded hem, and I think that's like definitely the ticket. So I think that they look really good. I'm really happy with it. Yeah, in general, I really like this pattern. I definitely recommend it. It's if I haven't said already, Moonset Tee by Ozetta is the designer, and I thought the construction was really fun, like really engaging. The yoke was really engaging to get this the V-neck collar. So you knit the collar as you knit kind of the different fronts and shape the V-neck, but then you're leaving the behind, the very back of it open, and then you sew just the back down of the collar. But I thought knitting the collar while doing the shaping was really nice. Not to, like most things, you have to go back and then pick up and then knit collars, but you didn't have to do that for this one, and so that was really nice. The only thing I will say is that this knitting the body kind of felt like a slog towards the end. It's just, 3mm needles and pretty light yarn weight. So it took a little bit, kind of towards the end I was like, okay, I'm ready to done with this, but I was determined not to, be done with it and knit it too short. So I'm happy that I kind of persevered when I was feeling over it. So yeah, that's my finished object, the Moonset Tee by Ozetta, and I'll if I haven't already, I'll put some pictures here, or maybe a little bit of footage of me wearing it, so you can really see how it lays, how it fits. Alrighty, now I'll move on to my works in progress. So what's going to become my main work in progress now that the Moonset Tee is done is the Billie Pullover by Sari Nordland, who is another amazing designer that if you are really looking for anything lace or cabled, you should absolutely look at her patterns, because that's kind of all she has, is really intricate, gorgeous designs. So I knit the Poet Tee, finished that around 4th of July, which is also by Sari Nordland, a lace pattern, so I'll put a picture here. So I really enjoyed that pattern, so I kind of wanted to knit another one of hers, and my boyfriend is going on a work trip to Europe in the fall, and so I wanted to knit him a sweater for that, and so I am knitting him the Billie Pullover by Sari Nordland. So it's got these like honeycomb, waffly honeycomb cables in the for the main part of the cables, and then some braid twisties on the side, and then of course moss stitch everywhere else. And this is the second cabled pattern that I've knit. The first one was the Arctic Light sweater by Veronica Lindberg. Actually, I've knit two of those because I knit one for my mom for Christmas last year, and then I liked it so much that I said, okay, I need one for myself. So earlier this winter I made one for myself. And so I will say that the cable design in this pattern is a lot easier to do and to memorize than the Arctic Light sweater. I loved both of the patterns, and I was eventually able to memorize the Arctic Light sweater pattern, but it took a bit longer than this one. This one, there's just less variety of the cables, and so it's easier, it gets easier to memorize. So I am knitting this out of Hobby Amigo XL. So it's a worsted yarn, and the suggested yarn for this is Cascade 220, I believe, or that's one of the suggestions. And the Hobby Amigo XL has the exact same meters per grams as the Cascade 220, so that I felt like that worked out pretty well. I did have to still go down a needle size in order to get gauge. I have discovered I'm a bit of a looser knitter. I didn't really have to go down a needle size. So this is supposed to be knit on 4.5mm needles, but I am using 4mm needles in order to get gauge. And for my boyfriend, who is 6 feet tall, I'm knitting size 4. Oh, I didn't mention that I knit the second size for the Moonset Tee. maybe I'll put my dimensions in the description box so you can see see how the kind of like sizing compares to actual bust circumference. But yeah, this is not for me, so this is knit quite a bit bigger. It's for my boyfriend, so this is size 4 on 4mm needles, and I've really been enjoying this. It's just engaging enough to keep it interesting, but like I said, it's not the most complicated, so you don't have to be, it doesn't have to take in the whole entirety of your attention. So now that I'm on the body, I'm kind of at a point where, you know, I could have TV in the background while I work on this. I did find that at the very beginning, it could be just because of my lower needle size, but everything was really, really tight, and it was kind of like, I felt like I was kind of wrestling with the stitches. But I think maybe I was just, you know, kind of focusing on these new cables that I was learning. I was tending to just, I think, maybe just knitting a little bit too tightly, but as I got more used to this pattern and the design and the cable stitches that are in it, I think I just loosened up a bit. Once there was more, and I think it's because once there was more fabric, it just loosened up, and so now I'm able to kind of like knit this with ease, when before I was actually like, my hands were getting sore towards the end, which is not a good sign. But now I think I'm kind of, now I'm smooth sailing. So I'm knitting it in this gray color for him, because obviously I wanted something that he would wear, a color that he would wear, but I wanted a lighter color to show off the pretty cables, and the sleeves have basically the same cable design on the sleeves. So this has definitely become my main WIP, because his trip is in a little less than a month, so I think this is going to definitely be my priority. Alright, and so my last WIP that I have to talk about is a new cast on. I cast it on yesterday once I had finished the Moonset Tee, and it is the Sailor Swift top. Ooh. It is the Sailor Swift top by Veronica Lindbergh, so she's Katova Kika on YouTube and Ravelry, and she's got a great YouTube channel, so if you don't follow her and see her videos, I definitely recommend them. And so I guess I'll show you my progress here. So I'm knitting it in kind of like a cream and a navy, because I'm using the leftovers from both my Poet Tee and my Moonset Tee, which I knit out of the Barocco Modern Cotton DK. So this is how much I have left of the Barocco Modern Cotton. So I waited, and when I started it was 19 grams, so it's actually less than what the pattern calls for. It's like, I have like 70 yards. I can't remember if I have 70 yards or 70 meters left, but I have less than what you need. And I'm knitting the small size because my gauge is a little bit bigger. I thought like maybe that's going to help me a little bit. So I should, based on my bust circumference, I should be knitting size 2, but I'm knitting size 1 to try to help me with my game of yarn chicken here. So I've got a lot of the, this is the color Piper of the Barocco Modern Cotton DK. And then this is Hope. But I think that I was really, really happy with how they look together. I'm really glad that I'm doing this with navy instead of black. I think that it definitely feels like a sailor, like sailor colors. Yeah, this is just gonna be my mindless knit to accompany the cables that I'm gonna be doing. But I don't think it's gonna last very long because one, it's a tank top, a kind of razor back tank top that's has a lot of negative ease, so it's not that big. Like I did this yesterday, I finished the whole back part yesterday because I found it so addicting. So if you're looking for a quick dopamine knit, I highly recommend the Sailor Swift top. There's something about these like really small stripes that make it like even more satisfying than like stripes that are of equal size. I don't really know why. It feels like you get to them quicker or something. But yeah, it's really hard to stop knitting on it. I feel like, oh no, next stripe. So I'm knitting this on 3mm needles. That's the suggested needle size. However, my gauge is about 21 stitches instead of 23. So that means that I'm gonna get probably something in between a size 1 and 2. Even though I'm knitting a size 1, it's gonna be it's gonna be a little bit bigger than a size 1. And this is again a cotton viscose blend that I'm knitting it in. So yeah, this will definitely be done by my next podcast, I'm guessing. Like I said, I'm getting my PhD right now, so I'm hoping to film these every 2 weeks, but we'll just see what I have time for. Yeah, I think that brings us to the end with the Sailor Swift top with the new cast on. So yeah, please leave a comment down below about what you're working on right now. One of the main reasons I wanted to start this was just to kind of build more knitting community around myself, so that I really spend a lot of time thinking about knitting, and I want to talk about knitting. So please let me know what you're knitting on, and we can chat in the comments. Also, I'm very new to filmmaking, so if you have any suggestions for videos you want to see or anything like that, please leave them down below. I also started an Instagram to accompany the podcast, even though I'm definitely much more of a YouTube person rather than Instagram. But for you guys, I made an Instagram, so that's under the same name. So Knits by Lizzy. I believe it's dots in between. So knits.by.lizzy. And I'm going to link all of these patterns in the description box, and where you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram. So with that, sending lots of big hugs to everyone, and I'll see you next time.